Okay, we've got a really interesting new lens from Sony. I've got it right here. This is the new 28-70mm f2 G Master lens. And that comes with a lot of really interesting things to talk about. f2, of course, being the main one, right? It's a nice fast aperture, especially for a standard zoom, right? You're used to f2.8. I'm using the 24-70 f2.8 G Master Mark II lens right now, which is lovely, but f2 actually lets in quite a lot more light. So in terms of low light shooting, and in terms of getting that beautiful fall off the bokeh, that shallow depth of field, this becomes a very versatile lens for being able to shoot all kinds of different stuff. I've had this for a couple of days, and actually I could definitely see myself not feeling the need to switch to prime lenses nearly as much. Right, just sticking with this lens for portraiture, for loads of different stuff. f2 is such an interesting aperture to just move to from f2.8 because it does just allow you to shoot in a slightly different way. Now, of course, there are trade-offs to this, right? You lose the 4mm at the wide end, so it's 28-70 instead of 24-70. How much that matters to you will depend on how you like to shoot. For me, I don't really mind that at all. I like a bit more of a zoomed in look, so that really doesn't matter. 28mm is still completely wide enough for everything that I would shoot. That's completely fine. But like I say, your mileage may vary depending on how you like to shoot your photo and video. Of course, it is a bigger and heavier lens as well. There's no kind of way around that. It kind of has to be like that to get that nice fast aperture. But I don't actually think it's that uncomfortable to hold. It feels good in the hands. It's nicely sort of weighted, which is good. It makes it a comfortable shooting experience. It was always going to be bigger and heavier than the, for example, 24-70 f2.8 G Master Mark II, but it doesn't feel totally different from the Mark I, which I used for years, day in and day out. This certainly has that same kind of feeling to it, and I don't think I would have an issue with using this at all. If you want a lighter lens, you've got that G Master Mark II, the 24-70, and if you want the faster aperture, if you want the more versatility, I think you can go to this lens. And of course, the other trade-off is this is a pretty expensive lens. There's no getting around that either. And I think that, you know, that probably is to be expected for what you're getting with this lens. Of course, it's a G Master lens as well, which means it has certain expectations with regards to build quality and optical quality as well. And I've got to say, this is so sharp. Ooh. Wide open, stop down, it is incredibly sharp. It's beautiful. It's capable of producing some really, really stunning imagery. It's super useful actually for photo and for video. So if you're a hybrid shooter, you can get so much out of shooting with this lens. It is remarkable. You can get some very cinematic footage because, of course, f2 allows you to get some nice shallow depth of field, really blur out that background. But when it comes to photography as well, oh, it is so beautiful. I'm not overly surprised. Like I say, it's a G Master lens, which comes with certain expectations and stuff like that. But even so, it really is a stunning lens when it comes to taking those photos. Now, I've had this on the front of the new Sony A1 Mark II, and I've done that for two reasons, right? It makes sense to use the newest camera because I've got that for review as well. But also, it's interesting to see how this lens keeps up with the super fast autofocus, with shooting at high speeds as well, because I knew this was going to be good for landscape, for portrait, for kind of all-rounder stuff. But how does it perform when you are shooting in slightly more strained situations? And the answer is completely fine. You've got two XD linear motors in here. I'm not surprised at all. The autofocus is really, really good. It keeps up really well with the autofocus capabilities of the A1 II, so tracking subjects, high-speed shooting. It's just no problem. In terms of the actual elements in the lens, you've got 3XA, so that's extreme aspherical lenses. You've got Super ED, you've got nano AR coating, extra low dispersion glass. This is all working to try and give you the best possible image quality, eliminating things like ghosting and flaring, and just get that super sharp image. And like I say, it works a treat. And then on the actual lens itself, when it comes to the build and design, again, like I say, G Master lens, if you have any experience with the G Master lenses, you'll kind of know a little bit about what to expect in terms of the way it feels. It's very, very nicely made. It feels like a premium lens. It is a little bit weighty, like I say, so that's kind of personal preference. I don't personally mind it. It's not that bad, actually. It's nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. When Sony first told me it was going to be a 28-70 f2, I was kind of expecting it to be very bulbous and heavy. And it, you know, it's not the lightest lens, but it's not too bad. Otherwise, you've got some nice control on here as well. Two custom function buttons. We've got an aperture ring as well with the click and declick as well, which I love. I love to see. The more options, the better, right? I love the click. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like to declick it, have it nice and smooth. Well, you can do that. You can do it whichever way round that you want to do it. Personally, like I say, I have the click on just because I like the tactile feel of it. AF/MF switch on the side and a smooth and tight control for the zoom ring, which means that you can make it much easier to turn or pop it back to tight and make it a little bit kind of tighter, so you can make those micro adjustments a little bit more easily. I love stuff like that because I just think it's great to have those options. If you just want to leave it on tight, which is probably how I would have it, then you can. You can just forget it. The control is all the way around here. No worries. But if for whatever reason you want to have it able to zoom faster, you can. Super easy. It's super, super easy. And I love having more options for the way you want to shoot. I've got to say, it's probably one of the best standard zoom lenses that I think I've ever used, just in terms of the level of optical quality, the stuff you can get, and the versatility of being able to shoot at f2 and without it feeling ridiculously large and heavy. I've got to say, I'm really into this lens. It's not without its downsides, depending on kind of what you feel. That 4mm at the wide end, obviously the price point being reasonably high, that's probably understandable. And the size and weight is a bit more. You know, if you want a nice kind of lightweight but still super high quality setup, the 24-70 f2.8 G Master Mark II, which is what I'm shooting on now, might be the better option. So that kind of depends on how you like to shoot and what's more important to you. But what a great addition to the lineup of G Master lenses that Sony have. They're just bringing out some really nice stuff, which, you know, you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. You can check out the full spec, all of the details about this lens by heading over to parkcameras.com. There's a link down in the description so you can see all of that, as well as for the new A1 Mark II as well. There'll be all the details and all the spec of that over on parkcameras.com as well. Again, link in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, because we've got new content all the time, including a review of the A1 II on the channel right now. Tutorials, reviews, loads of stuff all the time. I'll see you in the next video. But until then, as always, thanks for watching.